Non, ce sera Ronaldinho. Et c'est dedans.
Ce sera une sortie de but et on va demander tout de suite.
Gran recorte de Ronaldinho, intenta la bicicleta, se va del segundo.
Grand driver that goes back 55 years.
Toujours à l'entrée de la surface, Ronaldinho encore.
He lived football like Samba, a magician with a smile, loved by the world, but undone by his own lifestyle. Ronaldinho, the man who made defenders look like clowns, and goalkeepers look like extras in his personal circus. A genius so good, he didn't need tactics, he didn't need fitness. Some say he didn't even need training, but here's the dark truth. Talent is a gift, but talent can also be a curse. And a Ronaldinho story, it's less fairy tale, more gangster movie. One moment, he's the face of global football, Nike, Pepsi, video games, he was the brand. The next, he's in a Paraguayan jail, locked up for faking a passport like some low-level cartel recruit. How does that happen? How does a smiling magician go from Ballon d'Or to bars on his cell window? This isn't just a football story, it's a crime thriller. It's about money, fame, excess, and the genius who refused to train. So let's pull back the curtain, because behind every smile, there's a secret. They say some kids are born with a football at their feet. Ronaldinho, he wasn't just born with it, he was dancing with it. Porto Alegre, Brazil, a city of grit, samba, and survival. Here, football isn't just a sport, it's an escape plan. And for little Ronaldo de Assis Moreira, escape came in the form of futsal and beach football. Tiny ball, tight spaces, no room for error. It was like training in a boxing ring, but with your feet. That's where he learned to embarrass opponents with a flick, a nutmeg, a smile. He turned chaos into rhythm. Defenders? Just unwilling dance partners in his personal samba show, but every magician needs a mentor, and his came in the shape of his older brother, Roberto, once a rising star himself, until injuries cut his career short. So he turned all that fire, all that broken ambition, into fuel for his little brother. Roberto wasn't just a brother, he was coach, manager, protector, almost like a mafia boss grooming his heir. And then, 1999, the Confederations Cup, Brazil versus Venezuela. A skinny 19-year-old steps onto the pitch. Nobody knows his name. Nobody expects fireworks until that goal. He dribbles past defenders like they're mannequins in a shop window. Then, bang, top corner. A goal so outrageous it felt illegal. The world suddenly had a new obsession. Commentators screamed his name. Brands circled like sharks, and just like that, the boy from Porto Alegre became the man football couldn't ignore. But genius comes with a price, and for Ronaldinho, the price was about to get very, very high. 2001, Paris, the city of lights, and Ronaldinho. Fresh out of Brazil, he lands at PSG, and the French don't know what just hit them. One moment, he's a ghost, vanishing from training, nowhere to be found. The next, he's on the pitch turning defenders into memes before memes even existed. Unpredictable, flashy, electric, but also inconsistent, like a hitman who only shows up when he feels like it. PSG couldn't control him. The nightlife pulled him in. The discipline pushed him away. And soon, the French experiment was over. Barcelona takes the gamble, a club in crisis, drowning in mediocrity. They weren't signing a player, they were buying hope, and Ronaldinho delivered it in a smile. From day one, he transformed the Camp Nou into a circus of joy. Defenders slipped, goalkeepers prayed. Fans, they just laughed in disbelief. This wasn't football. It was street magic performed on grass. Even Pep Guardiola, a man known for cold precision, admitted, when Ronaldinho was on the pitch, the whole stadium smiled. And he was right. Ronaldinho didn't just play football, he sold happiness, like a drug dealer on the corner, hooking millions with every flick and trick. And business was booming. Shirts flew off shelves, TV rights exploded, Nike cashed in. Barcelona wasn't just winning games, they were printing money off the back of one man's genius. And the magician from Porto Alegre was suddenly the most powerful entertainer in Europe. But here's the catch. When you build an empire on a smile, what happens when the smile fades? 2003 to 2006, the world belonged to Ronaldinho. He wasn't just playing football, he was rewriting it. Every nutmeg was a signature, every no-look pass, a magic trick performed in broad daylight. Defenders became victims, goalkeepers became punchlines, and Barcelona, they became kings again. La Liga trophies piled up, the Champions League in 2006, and the Ballon d'Or in 2005. Proof that the smiling magician was officially the best on earth. But Ronaldinho wasn't just winning, he was humiliating giants. Ask Chelsea, ask AC Milan, ask Real Madrid, especially Madrid. The night he danced through their defense at the Bernabeu, scored twice, and left their fans with no choice but to stand up and clap. An ovation for a Barcelona player. That's not football, that's crime scene evidence. He turned stadiums into comedy shows. The ball was the punchline, and everyone else was the joke. Even rivals admitted you couldn't hate him, you could only watch and smile, and that's the thing. Ronaldinho didn't just win games, he made football fun again. In an era of cold tactics and strict systems, he played like a kid on the street. Carefree, chaotic, beautiful. Brands knew it. Nike plastered his grin everywhere. Video games built entire campaigns around him. Barcelona wasn't just winning titles, they were selling joy. And Ronaldinho was the product, the global dealer of happiness. But here's the danger. When the product is joy, the addiction spreads fast. Fans wanted more, clubs wanted more, sponsors wanted more, and Ronaldinho? Well, Ronaldinho wanted more too. More nights, more parties, more everything. And that's when the empire began to crack. Success is a drug, and Ronaldinho, he overdosed on it. By 2006, he was football's biggest star. Money, fame, power. He had it all. But instead of building an empire, he built a nightclub schedule. Barcelona wanted training at 10 a.m. Ronaldinho wanted dancing at 4 a.m. And guess which one usually won? The smile was still there. The tricks were still there. But the body, that was fading. Too many late nights. Too many skipped drills. Fitness dropped. Discipline collapsed. It wasn't just opponents he embarrassed anymore. It was his own coaches. Pep Guardiola, a man obsessed with control, saw the chaos coming, and Pep knew you can't build an empire on Samba hangovers. So the club quietly shifted their future to a skinny Argentine kid named Lionel Messi. The crown passed on. The magician became the opening act. By 2008, Ronaldinho was gone, shipped to AC Milan, a club hoping they could revive the genius. And yes, there were flashes, a dribble here, a wonder pass there, like a washed-up rock star playing his old hits at smaller venues. But the magic wasn't the same. The rhythm slowed, the samba dulled. He was still Ronaldinho, still capable of brilliance. But football had moved on. Barcelona had Messi, Europe had new idols, and the smiling magician who once owned the world was now just a reminder of what happens when nightlife beats training. It's the classic story. Too much talent, too little discipline. In business, that's how empires collapse. In football, that's how legends fade. And hey, if you find this story interesting, kindly do me a favor. Massage that like button and give that subscribe button some love too. With your encouragement, I've got something to keep me busy, instead of juggling balls in my living room, breaking lights, and making my wife mad. Every magician knows the trick doesn't last forever, and Ronaldinho's light was starting to flicker. Back to Brazil. First Flamengo, then Atletico Mineiro. The streets welcomed him like a king returning from exile. Crowds still screamed his name. Kids still copied his tricks in dusty alleys. The smile still sold tickets. But on the pitch, it wasn't the same. The genius was now part-time. Moments of brilliance, yes. A free kick bent into the top corner. A no-look pass that split a defense. But then, long stretches of walking. A magician who showed up only when he felt like it. Still, there was one last spark. Atletico Mineiro, 2013, the Copa Libertadores. Ronaldinho finally lifts South America's greatest prize. For a brief moment, it felt like the old days. The party, the magic, the joy. But if Barcelona was his empire, Atletico was his last heist. One glorious robbery of time before the decline became impossible to hide. The fans didn't care. To them, he was untouchable. The man who made football fun. The smiling trickster who gave them memories no trophy could replace. But inside the stadiums, coaches knew the fitness was gone, the discipline was gone, and without those, the genius couldn't last. Ronaldinho was still adored, still worshipped, but the truth was clear. The smile remained. The magic, only in flashes. It was the twilight of a career, a fading light that everyone could see, but no one wanted to admit. 2018. The magician officially hangs up his boots for retirement. For most legends, that means golf courses, TV punditry, and carefully managed brand deals. But Ronaldinho? His retirement was chaos. The money was gone. Millions earned evaporated. Tax debts piled up like red cards. Properties seized. Accounts frozen. It was financial mismanagement on the scale of a collapsing empire. The smiling genius who once made Barcelona rich now couldn't pay his own fines. And then came 2020 in Paraguay. Ronaldinho and his brother arrested, carrying fake passports. Yes, fake passports, like small-time criminals sneaking across borders. The man who once had the world at his feet now had police mugshots. The story was so absurd it sounded like a bad Netflix script. A Ballon d'Or winner locked in a Paraguayan jail, not for drugs, not for murder, for forged paperwork. It was tragic, but also bizarrely comedic. The world was stunned. Fans couldn't believe it. How did the man who made the Bernabeu applaud him? end up behind bars in South America. The smiling magician, now smiling in a prison courtyard. Of course, even in jail, Ronaldinho made it surreal. He played football with inmates, scored goals, won a piglet in a prison tournament. Yes, a piglet. The fall of a legend turned into a dark comedy. But make no mistake, this was no fairy tale. It was the final proof that talent, money, and fame mean nothing if the empire isn't managed. Ronaldinho had conquered football, but life outside the pitch, life conquered him. Ronaldinho walked out of prison the same way he walked onto a football pitch, smiling, like nothing ever happened. And here's the wild part. People still loved him, no matter the tax debts, no matter the fake passport. To fans, he wasn't a criminal. He was still the magician, because his legacy was never about discipline. It wasn't about records, trophies, or fitness regimes. It was about joy. Messi himself admitted it. Ronaldinho passed him the torch at Barcelona. Neymar grew up copying his tricks on Brazilian beaches. And millions of kids in cages, parks, and backyards tried the no-look pass, the elastico, the impossible free kick. Ronaldinho didn't make you want to train harder. He made you want to play. That's rare, that's priceless. Sure, he wasn't the most professional. He didn't squeeze every drop out of his talent. But maybe that's why people love him even more. Because he was human, flawed, chaotic, and still brilliant enough to bend the entire sport to his rhythm. Other legends are remembered as machines. Cristiano, the perfectionist, Messi, the alien, Ronaldinho. He's remembered as pure fun, the footballer who never trained but always smiled, the genius who lived like every day was a carnival. And maybe that's his true magic, not the goals, not the trophies, but the reminder that football, at its core, is a game, a dance, a reason to smile. The magician with flaws, the smiling genius, the man who showed the world that joy can be more powerful than perfection. Look at him now, laughing, juggling a ball like it's a toy, crowds chanting his name as if the past never happened. Ronaldinho lived football like Samba, not perfect, not disciplined, but unforgettable. He didn't just play the game, he seduced it. For a few golden years, he made the entire world smile. And even when the lights dimmed, the debt collectors came, and the prison doors closed, the memory of his magic never faded. That's the thing about Ronaldinho. You don't remember the mistakes. You remember the joy, the nutmegs, the tricks, the grin. He was never built to be perfect. He was built to remind us why we fell in love with football in the first place. The smiling genius, the magician who never trained, and the legend who will never be forgotten. Thanks for watching. If you haven't yet, go ahead and tickle that like button and give that subscribe button some love too. Think of it as encouraging me to make more videos and keeping me out of trouble at home.